Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Ali. Lovely to join you. I've spoken to you before and to many of your colleagues on the Ukraine issue. The point I wanted to raise was, why are people... There's one dot that's not been joined here, and that's back to Russia. And two things I'd like to say. One, we are facing a quartet that threatens our whole rules-based order, which is Russia, China, Iran, and North Korea. And Iran, for example, with everything they're doing to supply arms to Russia to use against Ukraine. But something that's not been talked about is the fact that Russia is believed to have spent over a year arming, training, equipping and helping Hamas plan for the 7th of October attack last year. Now, sources for that, Vladimir Zelensky, the SBU, the Ukrainian security services, and more recently, Nikki Haley, the former U.S. ambassador to the UN, and of course, up to recently, a presidential candidate for the Republican Party.
Have you seen any evidence of that, Cormac? Because I haven't.
Well, as I said, the evidence that I have seen is within days of it, both the SBU and the and Zelensky came out.
I mean, Zelensky's not exactly an independent actor when it comes to that kind of thing, is he? I mean, understandably, he wants to gain support from the West, but I mean, is he an independent third party that we can trust on this kind of thing? I don't know. I'm just asking the question.
Well, I mean, from my point of view as a friend of Ukraine, yes, but I take your point completely. Nikki Haley has come out, and I don't have the quote in front of me, I'm sorry, but I read it a couple of months ago. I've also, I have many contacts in the security service who I speak to. I've had conversations about this. I've been assured that, yes, there was involvement from, most likely from Wagner and from the GRU. But for some reason, for over a year, nobody wants to talk about this. But what is very, very clear is the relationship and the growing relationship between this quartet.
That I agree with you. That I completely agree, but particularly in trade and arms. Cormac?
Hello?
Yeah. No, I'm saying particularly in trade and arms. I mean, if you look at the trade that's taken place between Russia and China and also now Iran, clearly the trade ties are improving. Where are you on this leading to a wider regional conflict? Because I'm not convinced.
Well, my view is, and I take the larger picture, obviously Ukraine is my area of expertise, but my area is you have a quartet who have they have told us very clearly that they are set on the dismantling or the destruction of our current rules-based order.
But can I just pick you up on that for a second? Sorry, Cormac, sorry to interrupt you, forgive me. Rules-based order. Are you talking about the same rules-based order that led us to war in Iraq on the basis of a spurious claim that we were going to be attacked within 45 minutes? That rules-based order?
Yeah, I am. And I would absolutely say that we have made many mistakes over the years. It's the rules-based order that came out of the rubble of the Second World War. If it has one rule at its centre, it is that might does not make right. And yes, we in the West, and I would refer to us as the Transatlantic Alliance, and we have partners in Japan and South Korea and Australia, New Zealand and others on one side, and that is a group that values democratic norms. Now, have we made mistakes? Ali, absolutely we have, and some things that I would be personally disgusted about. But my point is that what we need to be doing at the moment is looking at how we can mend the mistakes of the past, get it better. In democracies, we can do that. But I am absolutely convinced from, studying this very closely since 2016 when I was a embedded advisor for 2 years with Ukraine's foreign minister as a British diplomat, that, you have, and the quartet is the four that I've mentioned, but there are many other countries who are on the fence. I'm just waiting to fall into their hand. The other BRICS countries, the extended BRICS members now, most of the African continent, certainly South Africa, a BRICS country, obviously.
Well, it's become a much more transactionally based world, Cormac, and all that you say, I understand exactly where you're coming from. But when we also talk about escalation here and establishing a rules-based order, do you think that the rules-based order is best served by Israel now trying to take out Iran's nuclear capability? I mean, I can understand why they'd want to do it, but do you think that's a sensible thing to do?
I think I am not qualified to actually say, yes, I think that should be done. I quoted Hamish de Bretton Gordon, who's far more who came out actually in an article in the Telegraph yesterday suggesting that there would never be a better time to do that. What I would say from my point of view, as a Ukraine expert, and from my point of view, is that these are things, either their oil industry or their nuclear industry is something that should be considered very, very carefully. But whatever it is, we need to do something that is going to cut the head off the snake.
OK, thank you very much indeed, Cormac, for your view. Yusuf in Wandsworth, good afternoon.
Afternoon, Ali, how are you?
Very well, so what would you like to say?